Hello students, I'm your course instructor Dr. Chaya Bhim. So in this video we'll be looking into the following topics, that is software modules for foreground or background system, data sharing using common memory, condition flag and semaphore. The software modules for foreground and background system showing data storage is clearly visible here. So we can see that we have a foreground tasks that are separated. These modules we have seen in the previous sections also, and to understand what are the software modules and how to separate, we have taken this example. So background tasks, we can see that we have a display module, operator input module and management information module. When I say background, these are the systems or modules which run with the soft real-time constraints, and these are the one which run with hard real-time constraints. So these foreground and background approach separates the control structures. However, they are still linked using the data structures. They are still linked through data structures. So it is very evident in the figure. The linkage occurs because they share the common variables. Why there is a link? Because they share the common variables. Suppose you take an example of an hot air blower. The control task, so in case of an hot air blower, this control task and display task and operator input are always required in order to share the controller parameters. So without this controller parameter, it cannot display. So every modules has to be linked. Though it is separated, it has to be linked, and this linkage is done or occurred because they share the common data variables. So data sharing using common memory. So this concept is uh, just to make you understand what is mutual exclusion. So mutual exclusion, we know that it is a property of concurrency control of processes. I repeat, it is a property of concurrency control of processes, which means that it is a way in which if it will make sure that if one process is executing in its critical section, then no other processes can enter in its critical section. So this example will consider where the transfer of information takes place from input task. So the transfer of information takes place from input task, here we can see here no input task module, to control task. Transfer of information from input task to control task. How it is transferring? So one way is that it is writing first to the memory. So this is your memory. So then this control task should get an exclusive rights to read from this memory. So then the control task will read. So consider there is a transfer of information from control task to input task, as we have already seen in this figure. So the input task, it gets values from the various controls. So what type of data it is sending? It is sending some controller parameters. So when we say controller parameters, it includes PID values. So proportional gain, integral action and derivative action. So all these time values it is sending or it is updating to control task. The simple task it is doing. But then we need to understand how it is shared using common memory. So from the computer, it gets all the values. The values can be KP, KI and KD. So now from these so it will be first holded in the area of a memory which has to be declared as common. So this has to be declared as common, okay. This is like a critical section. So we have a common space in order to store all the received data from the input task. So and it is named as common because it should be accessible to both the tasks. The values whatever is updated in this memory should be accessed by the both control task and input task. But what happens if input task is writing some values to the common data, the controller task should get an exclusive access to read KP, KI, KD. So if it gets access to this common memory, so then it can read KP first, KI first and KD first. Suppose if without getting any exclusive rights, if this controller task is attempting to read data from this memory, what happens? It end up with an error. That is, it only reads KP value, new value, and and ki and kd values what it reads will be an old values. I repeat, so you are writing something to the common memory is fine. So it should see that it should have a mutually exclusive rights to write the data into the common memory. So then the controller task should again get the exclusive rights to read all these values that are updated in this memory, that is kp, ki and kd. So these are just the controller parameter values. So at every nanosecond it has to be read. So without checking any exclusive rights, if the controller task attempts to read the data from the common memory, what happens is that it ends up end up reading kp value, new kp value. First one what it reads will be the new value, the other values will be the old values. This is a simple way to understand a concept of mutual exclusion with uh, an example of how to share the data using a common memory. What do you mean by the condition flag? Condition flag is basically a method which indicates, it is a method which indicates resource is being used or not. Resource is being used or not. Okay, so it is associated with the flag variable. It is associated with the flag variable. What type of variable? So first one is if the value is false, 0 or a reset. Okay, it's like the resource is available. Resources, then the resource is available. Okay, if the value is true, 1 or set, means that you can use the resource. So it's like you can use the resource. So in simple words, we can tell that it is a method which indicates resource is being used or not. Availability is different, that is semaphore. So condition flag, it tells the information about where resources being used or not. So it is basically associated with the flag variables. If it is false, 0 or reset, if you see the value to be 0, it means that resource is available. If you have to use it, make it 1. If you have to use it, you have to make it 1 and you start using this resources. So the condition flag example is shown here. This example will clearly understand and attempt at mutual exclusion using condition flag. So initially the task A check for the printer in use flag and finds if the printer is available or not. So it keeps on finding if the printer is available. So and once if it is available, so it checks if it is no. When it is 0, we know that when it is false, reset or 0, it means that resource is available. So now the flag value is 0, so hence resource is available. But before it executes the next instruction, task A was currently executing. Before it executes the next instruction, so what happens, dispatcher forces so some other task B to change the status of the task, and now the task B runs and it attempts to use the same flag printer in use. So here also it checks if the checks for the flag if the printer is available or not. So then it finds the printer, because when printer in use is 1, it says no. So we have to make it 1. So if it is 0, it means that resource is available. Make it 1 in order to claim the printer. Make it 1 in order to use the printer. So then task B starts using the printer. So dispatcher, so before the completion of this task B, dispatcher again forces, and task A was resumed after the first instruction. So that now it will resume back to the position where was interrupted, and again it says printer in use is 1. So initially it was 0. So before it started execution, task B claimed the printer. So now the dispatcher again forces from change 1 to change 2. It means that now it says task B you suspend for a while and you give service to task A. So now it makes the flags value to 1 and starts executing. So again the same action takes place. So until dispatcher again changes over from task A to task B, the task B will be in the suspended state. So then again it starts using the printer. So after all the instructions are completed for task B, so now the printer in use will become 0. It means that it is now available for any other task. So when it is 0, it means that it is now available for any task. It says release printer. So now task B operations are completed, but here it is still 1. It means that still some more instructions have to be executed. So then, while task B was executing, this was in suspended state. So here it says again use the printer because some more instructions were left out. So after all the execution, it says printer in use is equal to 0. So then it releases the printer. So basically the condition flag says that if it is true or set or 1, use the resource. So if it is 0, it means that resource is available. This is an example to show how task A and task B are sharing a printer using a condition flag. Semaphore. A semaphore is a process synchronization tool, and it is a reliable flag based mutual exclusion system. It is a process synchronization tool. So it gives two types of information. That is, since it is a binary condition flag, so when s is equal to 0, it means that a resource is unavailable and task has to wait, and if s is equal to 1, it means that a resource is available, okay, and task can proceed. So apart from this availability of the resources or in use, it also indicates one more information, that is it indicates which task can next use the resource. It also gives the information about which task can next use the resource. This is the most important information to be understood in the semaphore. So with this we can tell that the semaphore always run in a strict sequence. So run the tasks in a strict sequence. So let's see one example where it uses or transfer of control parameters by using semaphores. So basically we know the semaphore is a binary condition flag where it is having two values. When I say s is equal to 1, it means that resource is available and task can proceed, and when s is equal to 0, it means that resource is unavailable and task has to wait. This is the basic information we know. Apart from this, it also gives one more information, that it indicates which task to execute next, and hence we can tell that a semaphore is the one where task must run in the strict sequence. So here we will see one example like how to use the semaphore, the transfer of control parameters. So initially you can see that the task uh, which is there appearing here is a data transfer task, so which has secured its mutex. So which has just secured its mutex. While it is executing, the dispatcher will force to reschedule to give control to the control task. So now the controller task runs and it secures its mutex. So while this is securing its mutex, this will be in the suspended state. So now while this is running, again one more rescheduling takes place in order to give service to the display task, because the display task is considered to be the highest priority task. So hence, since it is highest priority, now the semaphore will be given to this display task. So now it executes. We can see that this display task executes, and after it updates the display, now it will terminate and the control will move back to the so after it uses the semaphore completely. When I say using of resource semaphore, it means that using of resources, it will be given back to the data transfer task. So till then this was in suspended state. So since data transfer task is the next highest priority task, this will be executed. So it will transfer the parameters. After this task is completed, it releases mutex to the controller task. This releases mutex because the usage of display task is done, the usage of data transfer task is also done. Now the left out task is controller task. Then now the controller allowed to run. So from this example we can see that the semaphore not only gives availability or shares gives the information about the availability of the task. It also indicates, or it is also a technique which ensures that a task must run in a strict sequence. As we understood that first the task, though task A appeared first, the task B runs first because it is of highest priority. So first display task run, then task A and then task B. So this ensures that task must run in a strict sequence in case of a semaphore. The summary of the video is as follows. So we understood the basic of foreground and background modules. So when I mention foreground and background, we know that these are highest priority tasks, and this is one which runs with hard real-time constant. This is the one which is having lowest priority compared to foreground, and these are the one which run with soft real-time constants. We separate or partition the foreground and background task using a real-time operating system. So later we understood how to share data using a common memory. So this topic we understood, and we also tried to understood what is a condition flag. So condition flag means that if, so condition flag basically means that if the value is, if when I say the value is S, if it is 0 or false or reset, it means that resource is available. So when the resource is available, you make it 1 and start using the resources. So uses the resources. So next concept what we understood was a semaphore. So semaphore, we know that if S is equal to 1, task resources available, okay, resources available, and if S is equal to 0, the resource is unavailable, okay, unavailable. Apart from this, it also gives you the information that the task run in strict sequence in case of semaphore. Thank you.